Welcome back to Big Herb the Nerd, and today's episode, a new episode in the How to Play Football Manager series, as we look today at tactics setups, how to create a tactic, how to judge your team after starting at a new club, looking at players, looking at positions, looking at tactical style. So this is a video that I have built before for previous versions of FM, and it's changed slightly for FM20 as some of the screens have changed somewhat. So we've been in the position for a few days now. We want to get a tactic set. The game, when you go in via the team report, will be blank because you have no tactic selected. So we have to go about it in a slightly different way. And where I recommend you start is with your squad depth screen. So this screen will tell you the players you have and your assistant manager's opinion of them in those players. You can, of course, pick any one of your coaches or staff members to do this for you. You may want to pick someone that has slightly better judging ability than your assistant manager to get a view of their star rating, but it will give you a rough guide. Hit formation, hit all positions. This will tell you then for their current ability, and what you can do is go in and select all of your squads. Select a minimum ability of 2 or 3 stars depending on how many players you have. A lot of the time you select 3. Half your team disappears. It's not good. It's a 2-star minimum ability. This now gives you a view of every position and where you have players. Study this. This is what you need. So I can see here that we have, obviously, Sebastian. This is West Ham. Sebastian Haller as our strongest striker. We then have Ajeti in behind it and Hugo who's out on loan. So I have 2 strikers who are of 2-star ability or more across all 3 teams. That leads me to say, really, this is a 1-striker system. I don't, with the current setup, have the ability to play with 2 strikers because I will have no backup. You roll down, you look across the board then. Okay, we've got Anderson is our strongest in the middle with 4 nails. Lanzini's there as well. Anderson also our strongest on the left. Yama strongest on the right. We look like we've got a lot of backup here with the right-hand side. Left-hand side slightly weaker. So do we want to play with left-hand winger? If we do, Anderson's going to be our only one with players in behind. You can hover over the little player circle here, which will give you a breakdown of that player. Tells you a little bit about their best role as well. So as you can see here, Mr. Philippe Anderson is best as an inverted winger. He's either-footed, which makes him very good. And you see his attributes here, so you can have a look at how he's going to play. You can start to get a feel then for what your players will be. So Haller here, pressing forward on attack, tells me a little bit about how he likes to play. Tells me about how I might want to set up a tactic. So if you study down the list, you can see where you're strong, where you're weaker, especially when you get towards the back as well. We can see on the right-hand side here, we've got Zaba and Fredericks. On the left-hand side, slightly more cover with Ogbonna, but Ogbonna is obviously one of our better central defenders as well. You can have a look at where you may have shortfalls in your team. So this is a good spot for 1, tactic, and 2, deciding whether you need to go out into the transfer market and buy players. Depending on where you start and what teams you start with, will depend on what budgets you get. At West Ham here, if we hit the scouting budget, we have 16 million to spend. That's not going to buy us a hell of a lot of players. So we may get 1 player with them. We're likely going to have to get a young player with some potential. So looking at this will tell me, okay, I can see where my strengths are. I can see that likely is. I've got a lot of defenders, actually. A lot of 3-star defenders. So a 3 at the back formation could work. In terms of DMs, Rice is in there. Noble could drop back if need be. But Rice can also play fairly well as a central midfielder. So we'll see what goes on there. If we play 3 at the back, Zaba and Fredericks are just as good as wing backs. Same as Masuaku and Cresswell as they are as left back. So a 3 at the back formation could work for West Ham. We then got central midfielders, Noble, Rice, Wiltshire. You can start to look at how attacking they are as well. DLPs, Wiltshire, DLP. Looks like we've got some fairly defensive players in there. And you can see, okay, get a feel for the type of formation you may be able to play. We look like we've got strong attacking players here. We have our single striker, and we maybe could play 5 at the back. So that could be how we set up here for West Ham in this save. Another thing to do whilst you're here is also flick in and look at the potential ability. Do the same thing. Have a look at the potential, see who you've got coming through, because it may be that if you've got shortages of top players, I can see here actually we've got some youngsters who have some fairly decent potential who we may want to bring through. But players that you may want to bring up, you might want to bring onto your bench, because that will help you build a full squad, especially if you're not going to have a lot of transfer funds. Once you have an idea of the players, then I would then come into the assistant report here. The assistant report, although will not show you anything on the tactic screen because you haven't selected a tactic, will give you an idea of what your team is good at and bad at. So strengths-wise, you can see, you look for the things that to do with the tactics. So high aggression, we've got good depths with defenders and goalkeeping, which is good. Quality players, Declan Rice is a good defensive midfielder, and Fabianski, that might lead me to play, obviously I'm going to play a goalie, but play a DM instead of a central midfielder. Yama, good option on the right. Good penalties, communication, decisions. Nothing here actually about a play style that we might want to use to our advantage. Weaknesses, definitely something to look at. Lack of right back quality. So this will tell us roughly where we need to go and buy. But for tactics, finishing. We're not great at finishing. We're not great at passing. Vision doesn't seem to be great. And then a lot of goalkeeping ones about aiming, reaching, throwing. Throwing is an area of concern. So this could then lead... Oh, God, here. Acceleration is not good. Stamina is not good. So a lower work rate with less running. Passing to feet, because we've not got great long passing. And we haven't got vision either. So keep the possession. Play the ball around. Play it short between ourselves. And we may have to work the ball into the box because our long finishing is not going to be great. It's going to be we're going to have to take a lot of chances to get some goals. This is obviously a generality for the whole squad. It takes a view of the whole squad and gives you back at its weakness. But it will help you when setting a play style via your tactic that fits the team you currently have. So once you've done that, you've taken some notes. Always take notes. We love a bit of pen and paper when we're playing Football Manager. Hit into your tactics screen. Helpfully, this year we have the standard, the possession tactics that we've had in before. The play styles. You can also create your own style if you like. But if you are a new player, I suggest you take one of these tactical styles and amend it yourself. You'll see here the little green thumbs up. This little thing tells you the styles that your assistant manager believes suits as well. So looking at team report, that assistant manager report, he's saying, okay, a gegenpress, a tiki-taka, or a direct style counter-attack will work for us. I would worry about a gegenpress with our lack of acceleration. I would worry maybe about a tiki-taka with a relentless press. But a direct style counter, maybe. 5 at the back, get it set, and then pass, but don't pass too far forward. So we can have a click in. Once you click one, it gives you a bit more what's going on here. Mentality, what we do in possession, what we do in transition, and what we do out of position, just to start with. Again, we can tweak these when we go in here. But I think we'll start with a direct counter. Then it gives you some options to start with. 4-4-2, 4-1-4-1, but you can go in and select whatever you want. I think we'll likely... Oh, no, not 3-5-2. 5-2 wing back. Well, let's have a look and see how this works. We might want to tweak it up. And then hit confirm. So this then brings through that mentality, that tactical style into this screen and gives you the selection screen. So this is where you can play around with the roles to start with. We said we were going to play with maybe a DM. We're going to have 2 central midfielders, but we only wanted 1 striker. So do we play actually with an AM? Do we play with no wide players and actually just play straight through the middle? Use the players we have and the strength we have. We knew out wide on the left we weren't great, and we knew on the right we only had really Yarmolenko. So we could do more with that role here. So maybe this is the formation we go with. From here you can play either within the screen. Click on the drop down. It will give you an idea of who can play where on the roles. You can also change the roles as you go here, depending on the player that's in there or how you want to play the tactic. It'll be up to you. Or again, you can do that from the side menu here. So picking our central defenders based on who are our strongest defenders and getting them into our team. Based on the role ability, assistant manager believes. Again, you can look at it yourself. We can change these. We've got covered defenders in here. We can switch them to defend. And what you need to look for with a tactic is a balanced view. So what we've done here is picked our first 11. What this will do then, and once you've picked everyone in, it will show you where you are strong and where you are weak in your tactic. So we'll see here that we are strong in these areas of strength. We've got 3 defenders. We've got cover across the middle here. We're also strong in this kind of deep box, which considering we're playing a direct style counter-attack is where we want to be. We want to be strong here to win the ball back in our own half and then play it forward. We'll have to make sure we get wing backs in that have a lot of pace because they're going to have to get them forward. We don't have anyone sitting wide, so a lot of the time we're going to be coming in. We're not going to be playing balls across from the byline here. Something again to think about when we get into our tactics. Here you can set your mentality. We're going to start on balanced. You have the option to be defensive to start with, cautious, which is more of a counter-attacking, or positive and attacking. Balance is nice because it enables you to flick between, and depending on how you change this, it will change your in-game team instructions as well. Team instructions, that was the word I was looking for. So here you can set within possession. These will be set to what the original tactic told us. We know here, actually, we want to play slightly shorter and slightly lower on the tempo because we know we don't have the tempo there. We don't really want to focus to play down left or right. We probably would want to go through the middle. But a lot of this you can pick up as you go. We're going to want to hit crosses early because we're going to have no width. So we don't want these guys running too much and getting too far ahead of the play, leaving us short here. Actually, we will focus through the middle because... We've got so many strong players through the middle. So what you can do is select some of these, or you can leave it standard. Leave it standard for how the tactic sets. Play a few matches, watch the match play out, and see where you want to tweak, where your team's winning the ball, losing the ball, and go from there. We've got here that we'll regroup after the possession is lost. Make sure we hold position and counter when we win it back. Distributing quickly, and we'll distribute to playmakers in the middle. I think actually, let's go to centre backs. We can probably get a ball playing centre back somewhere out there. Out of possession for us, we're going to play a much lower line. I don't play too low. This is my own preference. We'll defend it quite wide because we've got a lot of defenders there. We have this lower line of engagement. We might stretch just slightly to give us a bit more pace. We've got a tall pressing attacker there, and we'll have to see what we can do with Anderson behind. But yeah, the roles will be important. So speaking of the roles, one thing, like I said, you want to look for when you're building your tactic is you have a good balance of defense, support, and attack here. You'll see that in this tactic we only have the one player working on attacking mentality. It's most likely that we'll need to move someone in here, move in to have two at least attackings, maybe the wing backs on attack as well. If Rice with the three centre backs can do a good enough job defensively, that we actually give Masuaku and Fredericks more free reign out on the wings to get further forward and help out these attacks, with these guys in the middle playing as our support roles. Again, if the defenders do a good enough job, Rice could easily step forward onto a support role rather than a defend. If you want to understand what the difference between they are, you can flick into the roles, have a click, and read the description below. It will tell you the difference. It'll also tell you the difference between what happens on the player instructions between a support and a defend. So with a support, you've got more risk being taken, rather than on the defend where they're dribbling less. They're not taking risks, they're playing the ball as soon as they get the ball, making sure they're kind of holding that position still. You also, for your players, once you put your players in, you can go through and change the roles. We've got Anderson playing in here. Do we want him playing as a playmaker? Do we want him as an attacking midfielder? Actually, do we want to look at him more as a shadow striker, getting through and trying to score? How do you judge that? You can come into the player himself, select the position, have a look through the different roles and say, can he perform these roles? Shadow striker, actually Anderson has the pace, has the speed, finishing's only 13, concentration's not quite there, but easily could perform this role. Could he get us goals is the one we'll be looking at, or will he be playing forward the ball into Haller, and what can Haller do from that role? Same with him. How do we want to set him up? He's as a pressing forward attack at the moment. Will that be useful, or do we want to put him more in as a target man? Get him using some of that heading, his bant, pumping the balls into him and seeing if we can unlock him getting some goals there. So jump into the individual players. You can have a look at where they play well. It will tell you their natural position where they want to play. Also tell you where they can play. And don't be afraid to use players slightly out of position as long as their attributes match. So Declan Rice here, good defensive midfielder, good deep line playmaker. Secundo Volante, maybe not so much. 9 finishing, 7 long shots across the rest of his tactics. If he was to improve them, maybe. But right now, he is way more defensive than he is anything else. So we want to use him as a more defensive player. And then maybe use more of these midfield roles as something more attacking. So it's something to play with. The only way you're going to work out if your tactic works is to take it into a match and play those. And it's why I always suggest that you do play your friendlies pre-season, because you'll get to see how your tactic plays out. In the match engine, make sure you're selecting extended highlights at least, if not longer, because that will show you more highlights, which will show you how the tactic is playing out. Look for where you win the ball. Look for where you lose the ball. Stick to, for the starting, playing with the team instructions. Each player has their own personal instructions, which you can edit in here. So for each role, you can switch more. If I want, actually, I know Anderson can't shoot. I can have him shooting less often. So he'll, as part of that attacking midfielder attack role, will have a certain level set up to shoot. I can drop the level he has on shooting by selecting shoot less often here. So we'll look to pass more. You can also get to hold up the ball, dribble more, dribble less, depending on what his punch on is and how it works. Again, you can do that judging by the individual player, and you can set them as personalised rather than position. So actually, if I want to switch Anderson out in for, say, Lanzini, it may be that Lanzini actually, I don't want him to have it. So Lanzini we set up as a personal to play as a shadow striker, which is fine. But then if we were to switch him out for where has he gone? Mr. Anderson, it switches back to the AM. So you can have personal roles as well for players if you would like. But keep it simple to start with. Play the matches, use the team report. Once you pick your report, your tactics, you come back into the team report. It will tell you the best players they believe you have for those roles. So they'll tell me that actually he thinks I should swap Rice and Noble around. But other than that, pretty much the team is there. And then going into each game, you will also receive team selection advice from your assistant manager. Make sure you're using that and reading that as well, because they will tell you who's playing well and who you may want to bring in instead of the players you have currently. Make sure before you finish, you jump in and check out your set pieces as well. You can save set pieces separately this year rather than link them to tactics. So you have your set piece takers here. Select your corner takers, your free kick takers, and your throw-in takers. And then go into each of the individual set pieces and you can drag and move people around depending on where you want them to play for your attacking and defending corners as well as free kicks. So decide who you want. Look at your players. You'll see in the roles they're in, especially in the attacking front. Let's do it on a corner. That someone's going to play at the far post, it will show you their strength, their heading, their bravery. Okay, the tributes that they need for those roles versus someone who's on the edge of the box, maybe, who has anticipation brought in there off the ball and finishing. Someone's going to hit it long range. Someone who's going to, from edge of the box, run in. They're going to need anticipation. They're going to need to be able to get in, head the ball. Actually, Rice would be quite good for this one. And edge of area, someone that has the long shots and the finishing to pick the ball up and bang it from long range. So set those up, get them saved down as well. That'll all make part of your tactic. And if you're happy with it, make sure you get yourself it saved down and then create yourself some versions. There you can have up to 3 tactics loaded. Load 3 tactics. I wouldn't load 3 completely separate tactics, but maybe 3 versions of different tactics for different match scenarios is always useful. So get a tactic that works for you. If you find you're making similar tweaks in game, especially in this version of the game where the AI tends to change its tactic more regularly now, so they will go way more attacking towards the end of the game if they're losing or drawing and they think they can get something. You may want to have loaded versions of this tactic that drop it down to a defensive tactic, that maybe drop the wing backs down to defend, that actually maybe drop the wing backs down to a flat 5. Actually, if I'm winning and I want to hold on to a win, I just drop this back to a flat 5, and that gives me way more security in midfield. But I can set it by setting a new tactic with that style that enables me in game to quickly change it and then react to the opposition's instructions a little quicker. But we will leave that there. If you have any questions, hit us down in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions about my way of setting up tactics and looking at it. Get in, try it out. Remember, tactics will need to be tested in game, so you can create as beautiful a tactic as you want. It'll all be based on your player's ability to play there or your ability to train him in that way, and then seeing how it works out in the match engine. So do not underestimate the ability of playing and watching your games. But we will leave that there. If you have enjoyed, smash the like button, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you back next time for either some Let's Plays or some more guide videos. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening. Bye bye.